Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is a Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines, and most importantly, provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that every day. What do I mean by that? I say that because I only speak to transportation professionals on this show, as well as my twice a week long form podcast, because I want to put the right information out there from the people who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve. So you can take all of that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. It's one of the many, many reasons why I probably fly that American flag behind me every single day. A, we're the greatest nation on earth, but B, I'm living my American dream, and I want to help each and every one of you live yours as well. Good morning, everyone. Wednesday morning. Corey Buchan over on YouTube. What is going on, brother? Thanks for tuning in. Carla Isted, good morning to you. Conrad, good morning. Sydney Thiessen, good morning. Jeff Dickinson, what is going on, my man? And Julia Castillo, happy hump day. That is right. Thank you for tuning in. As always, Tracy St. Clair watching over on YouTube, as always. Thank you guys all for tuning in on this amazing Wednesday morning in freight. I don't know about you guys. Like I was saying yesterday, I'm having a pretty busy week so far. We're moving a decent amount of freight. And no, this isn't me up here bragging about anything, but it's also just the reiteration against the grain that nobody's moving any freight and there's nothing going on out there. Contrary to that, there's a lot of stuff going on in the market right now. There's a lot of opportunities that are out there. You just have to work for them. And that's one of the biggest things, you guys, that I think is going to separate a lot of you. And we're going to talk about kind of some of that here. We got some articles that we're going to break down today on the LTL capacity, the new supply chain council in DC, as well as it's time to recruit top talent in trucking. But before we get into any of those articles, you guys, when I first started creating content, I used to put out little videos every single day, and Wednesdays was always Weather the Storm Wednesday. I would talk about stuff about how do you process a claim for the first time? What do you do if there's damaged products? Stuff like that. And I would also talk, a lot about the hard stuff in business and everything. And it's no surprise to a lot of you who listen to the show often that I listen to Andy Frisella almost every single day that he puts out a new episode for the Real AF podcast. And he sends out these daily emails, you guys, as well. And today he had put this line in here, and it really, really stuck out to me. Again, this is from Andy Frisella's email this morning that I get. And it said, understand that your success, both personally and professionally, has a lot more to do with your execution during these hard times than it does when everything is easy and stress-free. And that line stuck out to me a lot. And a lot of that has to do with these last couple of years, right? You see everybody posting about all of this growth that they're having. Everyone's killing it. And now everyone, all of those people who are kind of talking about how easy it is and how everybody's making money, they're all eerily silent right now. And it's because it's hard, right? Like anybody can do any job when it's easy out there, you guys. Any job can be completed when it's easy, when it's stress-free and everything else. But like right now, this is where the real results happen, is during these uncertain times. Because you know what? It's always going to be uncertain out there in the market. It's going to take a lot of effort to onboard new customers and everything. And you got to be committed to that, right? Because it's not as easy as a lot of people make it sound. It's not as people aren't as great as they like to put themselves out there on social media. 99.9% of them are full of shit. They just don't want to admit it. They want to post how they're the perfect this, the perfect that, and everything. It's all bullshit, right? Just like every single one of you who's out there prospecting every single day, like I am, I get rejected 99% of the time, probably more than that. And that has everything to do with the reps that you're putting in, right? You have to put in a lot of reps to get results in this stuff. And when it's challenging right now to get out of bed in the morning, to get the work done no matter what. Because you know what? Between holidays and everything, you guys, it is hard, right? It is hard when you just got done gorging on Thanksgiving, and then there's going to be some shortened weeks coming up here. You want to sit there. You don't want to go into work. You don't want to put in the effort because you know what? You're probably already telling yourself 2024 is your year. Um, I'm guilty of that in my past as well. But now I also understand the fact that like this is when the growth really happens, is when stuff is hard, when things are uncertain. And that's when you really find what you're made of in business and in life and everything, because it's easy to quit, right? It's easy to quit. It's easy to throw your hands up in the air and not do anything because you know what? Oh, it's just, I'm just going to wait till next year or everything else under the sun. This is the time to make it happen, you guys. This is the time to execute no matter what. Build out your day in a way to where you get your hard stuff done first. At least that's what I do. Some people take the opposite. I've heard some other good advice where it's like, hey, do the little conversation, like get those wins, and then go to the challenging ones because it's that confidence that comes along with it. I do every day, like when I come in, no matter what, I do my outreach. That's my first thing that I do because I know what it's like to run a freight brokerage. I know what my day can go, and it can get hectic at times, just like every single one of yours can. But I know I can't take a play off in sales. So I structure my day for the first hour is dedicated to new business development every single day that I walk in. I preload everything the night before. So if you're out there like, how do I have the time to do that? Preload everything. Take 30 minutes before you leave for the day. Preload your outreach for the following morning. And then you dedicate that first hour to when you walk in and just hit it. Just hit it and get it out of the way right away. So then you got your business development in, right? Because like again, we have a lot of freight moving this week. Fortunately, I could find every reason to not do that sales outreach because it's busy, or you know what, it doesn't pay off because nobody's working. Contrary, I've had more replies to my outreach over these last week and this week than I have in probably the previous 2 months. So take that for what it's worth, you guys. Don't give up. It's always going to be challenging. It's always going to be hard, but you got to put in the work every single day, you guys. The results that you want are close. They're going to happen. You just have to continue to put that effort into it every single day. Let me see here. Stephen Title, good morning to you, sir. Thank you for tuning in. Uma says, we at Southwest Freight second that. You are definitely not showing off. We have been really busy too. I love it. Thank you, Uma. Zach Lonergan. Zach, what's up, brother? He says, it's also super easy to post about how much of a baller you are with zero evidence. Yeah, Zach, it is very easy to do that. It is in today's day and age. Stephen Title says, in my career, when I was a shipper and running my VMI, this market is great. When I started my business, I knew these periods down freight market would recover and reoccur, over and over. And they have over my 12 years in business. Take that for what it's worth, you guys. Steven's built his company up. I've been to his facility here in Arizona, and he may be a guest on the show here coming up, but we'll see. Hint, hint. But no, you guys, it's every time because I've been in the industry for like 15 years. I've been a broker for 12 of those years. And this is the way things are right now is how it was when I first started selling freight back in 2011. And to me, I'm used to this, right? I'm used to the fact that you're going to put a ton of outreach out there and there's no panic going on in the world, right? There's no panic and uncertainty out there where people are making hasty decisions on how they're going to send their freight out and they're going to pay $5,000 to move 4 pallets and whatever all that craziness looked like back in the days in 2020 and 21 and stuff like that, you guys. So when you see a lot of people posting and tweeting and all this other bullshit out there talking about how everything is going, guess what, you guys? It's always going to be hard. It's always going to be uncertain. At least that's what I've experienced. Maybe you guys are smarter than I am. Again, like I say all the time, I went to public school, you guys. So take everything for what I'm saying with a grain of salt. But I've also been in the trenches for a very long time. And a lot of my guests that come on the show that have been in the trenches for a very long time, they're all going to tell you the exact same thing. It's always going to be challenging. So let me see here. Sakina, great stuff here. Appreciate you, Sakina. Thank you for tuning in. All right, you guys, let's get into some articles. Let's break down some headlines. Let's get some real news going on out here. And I will give you guys my unfiltered opinion on what I think a lot of this stuff means. As always, you guys, the links to all the articles that I break down will be uploaded onto the YouTube channel, as well as the Coffee with the Freight Coach audio only replay. Because again, you guys, I want you guys to do your own research on all of this. But yeah, first article, JOC.com, written by my friend Bill Cassidy over there. Control of U.S. LTL capacity in 2024 hangs on the sale of the yellow terminals. Whew. The biggest sale of trucking assets in U.S. history is scheduled for Tuesday, but there's little clarity about who will buy the terminals formerly operated by Yellow. The defunct LTL carrier, once the third largest provider out there, is scheduled to auction off 174 terminals and other properties it owns on Tuesday. I didn't see anything this morning that showed any results or anything like that, so I'm just going based on this article that was released earlier this week. And then let me see. An auction would not be necessary if no bids exceed the 1.5 billion, as Dr. Evil always would say, billion put up by Estes Express Line in a stalking horse bid in October following a bidding war with rival Old Dominion. The auction, if it happens, would not cover the 149 terminals and facilities leased by Yellow, including some large terminals in major areas such as Jersey and SoCal. Yellow is battling landlords, including Estes Express Lines, over the leases and rights to some of the terminals. The leases of those facilities may be worth an additional $500 million. And then there's a whole bunch of lease terminals that are worth a lot more than these leases suggest today. Yellow was successful in negotiating low-priced leases that are now below market rates. Let me see here. Ted Morandin said, lessors are more likely to battle the defunct company to prevent those leased properties from being transferred to third-party bankruptcy organizations. And then exercising the LTL control, whoever eventually controls the 323 facilities owned or leased by Yellow would effectively control the U.S. LTL capacity. The winning bidder or bidders would have a grip on real estate spigot that could be turned on or off when needed to regulate the amount of space available to carriers competing in the LTL market. They could also expand their own networks gradually as needed. As of Monday, however, details of the scheduled auction have not been filed with the U.S. Bankruptcy Court. And then Yellow required to file a notice within the court within 1 day if it decides to hold an auction. Yellow has not hired a real estate auctioneer for the terminal assets. They had stated the company has hired auctioneers to liquidate its rolling stock of trucks, tractors, and trailers, and a process that will roll into 2024. They seem to want to sell the terminals to wholesale, and then let me see here. After a period allowing for objections to winning bids, those bids would be finalized on a December 12th sale. I think that this is interesting. I truly do, right? Because who is going to let me see here. Who is going to take control of this, right? Because from everything that I can see at this time of the recording, an auction didn't happen. So that means that Estes's bid probably is going to be processed and roll through for all of their real estate. Like that's a massive, massive overtaking right there. It's going to be interesting to see. It's also going to be interesting to see, are they going to go in and buy up all of the equipment for pennies on the dollar as well? I think that something like this at this scale is it's very telling on I don't think that, like, because again, like the freight market, I don't think the freight market's going to be affected by this, but I think it's going to be interesting to see how, when this all shakes out, what their bidding strategy is going to be going into the next bid cycle. Because obviously for 2024, they're going to have to already have put their pricing in for a lot of their bidding. And LTL, all things considered, you guys, they hold their prices pretty firm on a lot of this stuff. But again, I think it's going to be interesting to see here in a couple of, I would say probably by 2025, on how, after this all shakes out and gets processed, on what the market will look like from that, because this would grow Estes's footprint exponentially, right? And you're going to see it's going to be interesting to see. Again, I think that this is a big opportunity that is going to potentially come about here for an expansion. And then you might see some price increases because they own the majority of the infrastructure of the LTL market. I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be an interesting shakeout. I truly do. And then there's also that Jack Cooper Transport, a unionized truckload car hauler that put in a bid between 2 and 3 billion, and it aims to relaunch Yellow as a new company while rehiring Teamsters employees. But the Jack Cooper Transport bid depends on the U.S. Department of the Treasury extending by 2 years the terms of a $700 million loan originally provided to Yellow in 2020. Meanwhile, Yellow is selling off other non-core items more swiftly. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if the old union's going to step back in and show us all how it's done here. Well, it won't be them. It's going to be union-controlled carrier Jack Cooper. But let's see here, you guys. That article, control of the LTL capacity hangs on the sale of the terminals from the JOC.com. Let me see here. Jeff Dickinson says it's a great time to build or solidify relationships, explore new opportunities for current clients, vendors, manufacturers, and distributors, work up and downstream. Dennis Everett, good morning, watching over on YouTube. Sunny Sharma, Orange Shirt Gang, let's go. All right, on to the next article that we are going to be breaking down here. This is from ttnews.com. President Biden convenes a new supply chain council. Administration announces 30 steps to strengthen U.S. logistics. President Biden on November 27th opened up the first meeting of its Supply Chain Resilience Council by warning companies against price gouging and saying that this administration was working to lower costs for U.S. families. I'm going to pause there and got to remember, this is a trucking show. This is a trucking show. Anyways, we know the prices are still too high for many things, and that times are still too tough for too many families. Yes, in the real world, that is very, very accurate, President Biden. I agree with that statement. Anyways, and then the president has blamed on oh gosh. All right, you guys, I'm going to try my best. I'm going to try my best here. The president has blamed inflation on issues such as supply chains and Russia's the Ukraine war, while Republican lawmakers say they run up the prices and was triggered by the $1.9 trillion in coronavirus relief that Democrat Biden signed into law. Biden has used the council meeting to announce 30 actions to improve access to medicine and needed economic data, as well as other programs tied to the production and shipment of goods. He said he was tackling junk fees, hidden charges that companies sneak into bills just so they can, and customers have no alternatives. I think that the junk fees that they're talking about was ticket pricing and stuff like that. That's what they were trying to tackle is if you're buying a ticket to Taylor Swift and there's a fee associated with it. I don't think anybody gives a shit about that when they can't afford groceries. Anyways, because probably you're not buying concert tickets at that time. Back to the article. The council follows an earlier task force that was meant to address the supply chain problems that partially fueled higher inflation in 21. Inflation remains a sore point for Biden's approval ratings ahead of next year's presidential election. After the annualized increase in consumer price index peaked at 9.1% in 22, inflation has eased to a moderate 3.2%. Where is that number coming from? Moderate 3.2%. Inflation has not dropped 6% in 12 months at all. At all. Oh my gosh. Let me see here. I am going to Google current inflation rate. The U.S. inflation rate remained steady at the 3.7% in, okay, maybe I'm misreading something here, but wow. Anyways, among the new 30 actions, Biden will use the Defense Production Act to have Health and Human Service departments invest in domestic manufacturing needed of medicines out here. The cabinet agency has identified $35 million to invest in the production of materials for injectable medicines. That is pitiful. $35 million? $35 million is nothing compared to the billions of dollars that we spend wastefully. I think this is a great opportunity to bring all of this manufacturing back here to the United States. All right. Yes, you can make the labor argument and everything else out there. But again, like I had mentioned the other day, we need to have zero foreign dependence on any critical uh, portions of our infrastructure, medicine, oil, gas, all of that stuff. And for all the people who are out there bragging about battery and everything, that's not a reality anytime soon. I hate to break it to you, but it is not going to happen anytime soon. Our current power grid cannot take on that additional electric vehicles and everything else. All right. I'm all about alternative energies if you want to do that because I'm a capitalist, make your money. But we need to bring and reduce all of our foreign dependence on everything. We need to be completely independent as a country and then trade with other countries as a value add, not as a necessity. The federal government will also improve its ability to monitor supply chain. The Commerce Department has developed new tools to assess risks out there. The supply chain group is co-chaired by Lael Brainard, excuse me, the White House National Economic Council director, and Jake Sullivan, who is the White House, um, excuse me, national security advisor. Other members, the U.S. trade representatives. Okay, correct fact checkers who are out here. Correct me if I'm wrong. Where are the actual people who are in the supply chain industry? Are they represented on this council? Because I kind of think that's what we need. Um, we need people in our government that are overseeing roles in industries that they've actually worked in, right? Like I'm not saying that somebody who, maybe some of these individuals had worked, um, so have worked in the industry, um, and then got into politics and everything. I can roll with that. But I think DC speaks for itself, and we appoint people to councils and cabinets and everything else of things that they've never done before. So if we're going to have something in the US government about the supply chain, it should be ran by supply chain professionals. Just like the person who is in charge of the FMCSA, the Department of Transportation, should have tangible experience in the roles that they're overseeing. They shouldn't be appointed to these positions. I want to see that change, right? I think that's a very small thing to ask of like, hey, maybe we should have the people who are in charge of these governing bodies actually have real firsthand experience in that industry. It's which is one of the reasons why I just don't like traditional politics, right? Because this shouldn't be a thing. We should, and again, if I'm wrong, I'll eat crow, but I don't see anything. And I want to see, I saw a post on LinkedIn yesterday from somebody. I don't want to mention their name just in case I'm wrong, but who had said that there was not anybody in there. Like they need to have CEOs of some of these companies on that council and they weren't listed on there. Again, like it's just another prototypical old school politics at its best. Let's create another council full of people who have no fucking clue what they're talking about. And then they're going to mismanage a bunch of our finances that don't actually accomplish or fix anything. Um, Anyways, ttnews.com, Biden convenes new supply chain council out there. It's just, yeah, it's ridiculous. Typical politics. Anyways, Uma says junk fees provided by shippers are BS. That a lot of customers complain about. Pandemic fee. Yo, Uma? Are you talking about like last mile stuff like that? Like if you ordered a TV or refrigerator and stuff. I'm not 100% certain on that because I work in full truckload and I know that there was none of those fees associated to it. Conrad says inflation is year over year typically is 3% on top of the 7% from last November. Year over year inflation has been dropping since a peak of 9.1% last June. Conrad, where did you get that information? Again, I tried Googling it quick and I couldn't find it. Could you drop that in the chat so I can look that up? Have a good one, Sonny. Thanks for tuning in, brother. All right, you guys, third and final article is about from fleetowner.com. Now is the time to recruit top talent in trucking. Sorry, you guys. I'm working. Sorry, guys. Uh, Sorry, give me just 1 second. All right, my bad. like I said, you guys, I'm in the industry. I got freight moving. I'm doing stuff every single day. So sometimes, yeah, I gotta jump on that. Yes, that is the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Amen to that. Amen to that. So this fleet owner article talking about recruiting top talent in the industry, and like now is the time. We had talked about this in a couple of other articles earlier this week about social media, marketing, and all of that stuff. And from my perspective, again, we from a recruiting standpoint and everything else, it's always a good time. It's always a good time to get in front of a lot of what, because like again, I don't subscribe to the fact that there's a driver shortage at all. There will be a driver shortage if we don't attract more people into this industry. That's one thing that I'm trying to do through a lot of the social media that I put out there. And, because again, a lot of people are on, they find all of their stuff yeah, that's actually, I'm updating a customer on a couple of deliveries I have going on right now. So yeah, I am making sure that they're on there and I'm updating my customer while I'm going live. Like I said, I'm just trying to show people the reality of business, and and you got to wear multiple hats, and through social media and content and everything. I think that this is going to be the best way to attract that next generation of driver, and we need to put all of that stuff out there. And I think that we need to start now, right? Recruiting, keep that top talent. I know that there's some organizations out there that go down to the high school level and then get those people into the industry, right? Because this is a great opportunity, whether it be in trucking or in other blue collar roles. Where I'm going to say this again, that's the next gold rush, you guys. It's not going to be in tech. All right, it's not going to be in tech, because I think that there is going to be a major opportunity in the blue collar industries than in any other industry, because that workforce is aging, right? And that's like the big thing that comes along from the that's the one thing that comes along that sorry, you guys, again, I'm doing multiple things at once. Yes, Jeff Dickinson, I have my priorities in line. Hey, I appreciate that, Bill. Bill McIntyre says my comments aren't working on LinkedIn. I honestly think I'm getting shadow banned on LinkedIn, you guys. I've heard from so many different people that they cannot comment on my stuff anymore. They don't see my stuff going live. And these are people that have been following me for years, right? I don't know what's going on LinkedIn. All I can assume at this point is I'm getting banned of some sort. I'm getting my content is getting pushed down, and the viewership is not happening out there. And I'm saying that with a lot of confidence because my downloads on the iTunes and Spotify are double from what they were 2 months ago. So I know my shit's growing and expanding, but for some reason, LinkedIn, I don't know if they hate the thing behind me, and that's why they're demonetizing my stuff and not allowing it to get out there. Maybe they don't like the fact that I say fuck. I don't know. But I think that at the end of the day, from my perspective, I've heard that from multiple people. So you guys, I do go live on YouTube as well, and it seems to be working exponentially better on YouTube than it does on LinkedIn. So it's under the Freight Coach, you guys. You guys can follow me on that stuff. Let me see here. Matt Fink says, I want to be Eli or Peyton doing side color on Jolly during his broadcast. During his broadcast, Chris goes for the 04A load and go. He's covering the lumper. Did you see that? He covered the unload with comp check. This guy is ever. Yeah, man. That's just what we're doing. That's what we're doing every single day, you guys. It's not perfect, but I'm just trying to show you this is the real side of everything. This is who I am. I'm unapologetically Chris Jolly at the end of the day, and I'm going to make it work, because how else am I going to show you guys what it takes to build a $50 billion company? Because that's what I'm doing. I'm building the largest transportation company in North American history. That's what we're making happen out here, you guys. But that's going to be it for today. We will be back tomorrow, you guys, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some more industry headlines. As always, if you guys got value in what you heard today, subscribe to the show, you guys. Share it out there to your network. because at the end of the day, that's how we grow. That's how we help more people. Most importantly, is because of each and every one of you. The fact that if you see value, your network will see value as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.